He is the man behind the music on the new CD, The Secret Language of Birds. Can I mention Jethro Tull? Because I certainly loved them for many years. Ian Anderson is right over here. Hey, good to see you back here. It's been too long. But, you know, do you know that helium is not a drug? It's non-toxic. It's helium. Well, it's an element. And
it is very bad for your vocal cords. It really is something you shouldn't do. Everybody does it once. You know, and it won't hurt you if you do it once or twice, but it's actually a really bad thing. Stretches the vocal cords, gives you the high voice. It's not a thing to mess around with. And you're right, people getting this message. Some child 5 or 6 years old doesn't know the difference between helium and something really very nasty that they might be asked to inhale. So I have to say I'm on their side. But the worrying thing is people are spending millions of dollars on a marketing campaign without checking how's this going to be read? What messages are we really sending out?
They don't have an obligation to do that. I mean, this group should, if this group wants to spend money on things, on going after Federal Express, they ought to put that money into the war on drugs. They ought to go after, real villains. You know.
Okay. I don't want to even start with the war on drugs with you, Jack, but, you know, you're talking about messages to kids. Yeah. During the Super Bowl, the ads were all for either, you know, start-up companies, get rich quick, or beer. So it's okay to be greedy or drunk. But helium, that's what we really got to keep away from our kids.
You know, I have...
It's insane.
I am just shocked.
Heretofore, I had no idea what helium does to you. I had absolutely no clue. But I'm just...
It's great.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just about to buy a very expensive car, and they say that the heats blow smoke up your... air up...
Yeah, your ass.
Your orifices, precisely. So I might cancel that because that might be very dangerous as well.
I am just shocked, Bill.
You ever been to the dentist? You ever get that gas?
Not anymore. They don't do that in Europe. That is absolutely a no-no.
Oh, well, and their teeth show it.
But I mean, think about it.
Here you are. No offense, but, you know, come on. Have you been to the dentist where you get that gas?
No.
You never got... Oh, come on. How many people have gotten the gas at the dentist? I mean, you know, it's like, oh, could I get another cavity, please?
They are fibbing you.
No, they're not.
They're fibbing you. They have no idea.
I can't believe nobody here.
I don't believe
at a more serious level, aren't you flabbergasted that anybody would think? I mean, in this age of the internet, this is the first thought that came to me when I saw that. In the age of the internet, and you know, kids emailing kids in Thailand, and all this information, and all this education, that aren't we concerned that somebody would think our children are so weak and malleable and stupid that they would do something like this? Isn't that? Why aren't we shocked by that?
I mean, I don't think. I'm with you. I do not think kids
why aren't
are
we shocked by this outfit?
No, why aren't we shocked by the fact that kids? I mean, isn't that something that we should worry about? That anyone would.
You know what I'm worried about?
I don't think.
Well, you know what I'm worried about talking about gas? I'm worried about the fact that gasoline prices are going up $2 to $2 a gallon. And as I was working out prior to coming here today, I just sat there and I thought, the only thing that would undo Gore's ride to the White House would be an unsettled economy. How do you unsettle an economy? You raise oil prices.
So you're alleging, are you alleging a Bush conspiracy?
I have no idea. It just occurred to me as I was
bicycling. Who is more into oil?
I have no idea.
Hello, Gore and Bush.
That's a...
the only thing...
That is...
Gore and Gush. That oil, gush, gusher, it's all coming together. All right, I could take a commercial. We'll do that.
Join us tomorrow when our guest will be songwriter and entertainer Matt Davis, from Penn & Teller, Penn Jillette, Buffy the Vampire Slayers, James Marsters, and spiritual medium Rosemary Althea.
Okay, we're talking about kids doing helium, which I do not think is a huge problem out there. However, it was in the paper recently that between 91 and 95, the number of kids under 5 years old who are on antidepressants doubled and stimulants tripled. And there are a lot of people who are upset about this. Even as young as the ages between 2 and 4, there are actually millions of kids on stimulants, antipsychotic drugs, antidepressants, including Thorazine. These are pretty heavy drugs. And I know a lot of people are against it, but
Are there any correlations between the administering of drugs to kids who come from single homes or single-parent homes, or...?
That I don't know.
What it is, I think, is the new babysitting. I mean, it used to be you had a rambunctious child, you'd put him in front of the television, let the TV babysit him. Yeah. Now, in the modern age, everything's sophisticated, I guess, so you bring your kid to the, maybe upper middle class, upper class parents bring their kid to the doctor, they say, my kid's a little restless, what do I do? Well, they say, well, he has a problem. Maybe it's a kind of disease.
It's easy to say from the outside.
But I intend to agree with you. On the other hand, I would have supported your point completely. I just now, prior to coming in here, talked to someone who had a daughter who had ADD, attention deficit disorder, and they did not know what to do with her.
Right.
And really did not, for years. And finally put on Ritalin, and it solved the problem immediately.
Right. I mean, it's very easy from the outside to say, oh, you know what, they're just using it as a babysitter. But if you've been around a kid who's bouncing off the walls like a racquetball...
Yeah, I mean, if you have a child who has a little problem, then of course it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be a babysitter substitute. But there are people out there with clinical problems that require clinical treatment.
Yeah, but
so why deny somebody, especially at that age? I mean, to carry their burden through to adulthood without any form of treatment, it can't be right.
There's no question that something like Prozac has legitimate uses, but among 5-year-olds, what percentage of 5-year-olds need Prozac? I mean,
happily a very small one, but for those that do, why deny them the treatment?
I think, you know, the human being is a test tube of chemicals. And we all, adults, and you know, you can make your points about the drug war, Jack, but we all pour different things in there to change our moods.
Yeah, but I tend to agree with Jack. I think it is very dangerous to administer all that stuff to kids. I come from the world of the physical world. I think if you made these kids run around, make them do a lot of exercise, they will get rid of a lot of their problems, as far as I'm concerned.
I think there are a lot of I agree. There are probably a lot of parents in places like Washington and L.A. who think it's chic to give their kid Prozac, that there's somehow that he has a disease and they're addressing the problem.
That is
I really think
they don't think it's chic. Oh, honey,
if they do, it's wrong.
Bill,
I agree. It's wrong. But this is a matter of common sense.
I think it's like people have an abortion instead of using contraceptives or not having sex, then they'll give them drugs instead of loving them and playing baseball with them.
Well, but see, people. Now, on the other side of it, you might come back at me and say, well, how can you bash this and then have the feelings you have about the war on drugs and want to stop people from using marijuana, heroin? Isn't there a contradiction?
Yeah, they're the same. Marijuana, heroin. Well, I was just shooting marijuana today.
Well, that's
See, that's the problem with the war on drugs. The people who fight it know nothing about what they're talking about.
I think the war on drugs I think it's an extraordinary waste of money and effort, and has not solved a damn thing.
It hasn't.
Well, it has increased the criminal class quantitatively by many numbers.
And none of the candidates, including Bohr and Gush, have the guts to speak out.
To legalize it.
Well, we had drug use going down in the
country. Or at least to end the war, to say, you know, this is not working. This approach of criminalizing instead of treating people who have a drug problem.
If you legalize drugs, and we've had this discussion before, but if you legalize drugs, what happens is that you focus on the demand side, but there's a supply side. People will market drugs.
And same thing with products, so you have to take a break right now. Okay, Ian Anderson, The Secret Language of Birds, Jethro Tull, great stuff. Okay.